Hello, parents. This is my lesson number 6, How to Discipline Teens. So, I have started this program called Parenting Teens with Love about 4 to 5 months back, and this is a free learning program for all the parents so that they can do parenting of their teens without any problems and prevent many issues. So, if you want to see my previous videos, please subscribe to this video and you will get all previous videos also. So, let us move forward. So, what is discipline? It is the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. This is the definition that is given in all the dictionaries. But is it the one which we are looking for when we discipline the teens? Let me tell you, it is not. So, in teenagers, you cannot discipline teens by scolding them, by punishing them, by being harsh to them. It's not possible. The teens, they learn only when, or they get disciplined only when you tell them the logic, you show them the way yourself, you all follow it yourself, then disciplining becomes easy. So remember this, do not think of harsh punishments for teens when you want to discipline them. So, why is the discipline important? It is very important to help to train a person's mind, to train a person's personality, to make them a good personality, to make them a good character person. So, discipline is definitely important in our life, and we need to really have discipline in everybody's life. Whatever position you are in, or whatever age you are in, discipline is very important. It puts a person in self control mode. If you have discipline in your own life, then you can do a lot of things with self control. For example, internet addiction is becoming a big issue in all the teenagers. But if discipline has been taught to give yourself self control, they will not fall into addiction. But those who do not have this discipline, they go for internet addiction. Discipline is a form of freedom from laziness and from boredom that we all know. It is a freedom from weakness and fear that also I think we all understand very well. Now, how to discipline adolescents? This is a very, very difficult question, which most of the parents they ask me, and they say how we have been telling him all the time not to do this, not to do that, this is not good, that is not good, but how to discipline them? Let me tell you, parents, it is not a one-day job. It is a lifetime of discipline. Not one person's job. Only mother or only father cannot discipline a teenager. And it is not easy, as I've already said. It needs a lot of sacrifice from parents. It needs a lot of patience from your side. And it needs a lot of self-discipline, first of all, from parents. Please remember this. Don't think that you will put taboos on your teenagers, but you will not do the same thing. That is not possible. Please remember this very important thing. Now, let me put this discipline, how to discipline, into a simple mnemonic, that is discipline itself. So, D means daily routine. I will be talking more in details about each one of them. D means daily routine by doing informal talk, and disciplining can be by setting limits. It is by being consistent, ignoring minor misbehaviors, give positive remarks. Love has to be unconditional. It must involve entire family. Disciplining means no labeling or nagging, and it should be done with empathy and education. So now let me go in very short thing. I will be doing each and every the each and every point I'm taking in details and with examples. I'm going to explain to you how to go about it. So, what is daily routine? Now, discipline happens from daily routine itself. It is set from childhood. I have seen some parents letting their children sleep till 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning, and even till afternoon in the morning, thinking that, oh, it's just a small child, it's okay, let him sleep, and there is no discipline, there is no problem, there is no timings involved, let him sleep. And then suddenly, when the child starts going to school, then they suddenly wake up And they say, oh, my child is not learning to get up in the morning. He doesn't get up at 7 o'clock. It's very difficult to wake him up. Who is wrong here? Did you discipline him earlier? No, you didn't. So please set guidelines from childhood itself. Give him adequate sleep. Nobody is saying don't give adequate sleep. But a child who sleeps at 10 in the night and wakes up in the morning at 7 is good enough sleep. That is more than 8 hours of sleep, which is good for any child. So please remember, don't get overboard with your emotions. Second, parents to follow the same routine. Suppose you say, okay, I wake up the child at 7, but father wants to sleep till 8 or 9 every day, not once in a while, but every day. Then it's not going to happen. The child will learn from the father. The child knows parents only as the ideals. The wake up time has to be set, as I've already explained, breakfast routine. Now, for example, when children are small, like 1 year old, 2 year old, they are given breakfast at 12 o'clock. They are not even sometimes given breakfast, straight lunch. And then suddenly they say, oh, my child doesn't take breakfast at all when they are going to school. He just wants to have milk and go to school. Now, who is responsible? Again, you have to understand that the body has a particular mechanism, and once it is set in your childhood, it is difficult to change later suddenly when the child goes to school. Lunch routine of healthy stuff. Now, when the child is about 3 years old, parents will say, okay, let him eat anything. If he's eating puri every day, if he's eating fried stuff every day, it's okay, he's a child, let him eat. And then suddenly, when the child becomes obese, then they start, oh, I have to control his diet to healthy stuff. Is it possible? Impossible. It's very difficult. Study time. Study time, again, when the child starts from nursery and all, I don't say that you make a fixed time and there is no studies that time. In fact, it should be a practical experience. But a child should know that, yes, this is the time for extra studies. Maybe at that time the study is not so much, but his routine should be set in such a way that he wakes up after sleeping at 4 and he either goes to play. He should be active, mentally active time. That is, then later when the study time actually comes, then they will be active at 4 o'clock. But suppose some parents say that 4 o'clock is, they are not waking up the child and the child is sleeping till 6 o'clock in the evening, and this is because he's in nursery, so he doesn't have to study anything. Then that time they are fine. But when the child starts coming in fifth standard, sixth standard, then this becomes a problem. So we have to set this kind of discipline from the beginning of the childhood. Sleep time, as I've already described, has to be set. Next comes informal talk. You see, disciplining is not that you make the child sit in front of you and say, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to. No, it's not like that. You have to just talk informally. Talk about your experiences in your childhood. How you used to get up in the morning and you used to go out for a walk with your grandparent. Something, whatever you have been doing in your childhood. This sets an example for your child and he follows. And it is only by informal talk. You don't have to, make a list of things that you have to do this, 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 this. This will not work. Right? Then talk of health benefits of routine and healthy habits. Just talk about it normally while watching TV. You're seeing some program, you're saying, oh, that is so nice, that fruit I used to love. Yeah, it's very, let's try it today. Let's try that salad. Let's try some new things. This is informal talk and disciplining. Chalo, let's try the early time of lunch. Let's try the early dinner time. Let's see what happens. It's something different. Let's change something we are doing. Let's change that. Right? Then in modern times, digitalization is the most important. You can discipline a child by telling stories. You see, earlier when we were more socializing with each other, we were talking about the others' children and all. We used to learn lessons from those stories. We used to learn lessons from gossip. Today it is missing because of Corona, right? The other mothers are not describing what is happening in their home. It's difficult. So we have to take stories of modern times. Maybe you can read some articles or something and tell them that how digitalization is not good in some matters. It is not that you have to tell one teenager, he will sit in front of you and say, See, digitalization causes a lot of electromagnetic waves. It causes problem in your eyes. It causes this, it causes that. This doesn't work. You have to tell them what is happening practically. And they derive things from that. And then they work out. Okay, so basically, give them knowledge, not as lessons, but just as if it's a part of life, it's normal way of life. Then they will imbibe the discipline as a way of life, which is the best way of disciplining. Now, let's come to setting limits. Setting limits means that the limits, for example, the coming back home time. For example, in some families, the father goes out partying every day. He goes out not for work but for partying. Hmm? He goes out every day and he's coming back around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and when he comes back, he's coming in a very inebriated state, and the child comes to know whether he's sleeping or whatever, he comes to know. Then suddenly you want to put a limit on that teenager to come back by 10 o'clock. Will he obey you? Be practical. When father is so indisciplined, or if mother goes out with her friends and comes back around 11:30, will he obey any of the mother or the father to come back at 10 o'clock? I don't think so. You have to set the rules for all members of the family, especially when you have teenagers in the family. That is to be imbibed in your mind. Please remember this. If you feel that you can do whatever you want, but your child should do what you tell, it's not going to happen. Setting limits from early childhood. Like, for example, in early childhood, you tell them, okay, you can have lunch at 3 o'clock, you can have dinner at 11 o'clock, it's okay, there is no, it's a small child. But suddenly, you start putting limitations on your teenager. नहीं 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 भाई, तुम्हें तो स्कूल जाना है, ब्रेकफास्ट तुम्हारा 7 बजे हो जाना चाहिए, lunch should be at 1 o'clock, dinner should be at 8 o'clock. Body also has a mechanism. Even if the child or the teenager wants to do it, but it will take time for the body mechanisms or the mental state of the teenager to adjust to all these limits. Limits of studies. But you have never told the child that you should study for 3 hours or something, or you should take a break in between, and how should be the study table, how organized you should be before starting the study. You have not taught all of that. Then how will he start studying during 10th standard? Like that. Suddenly you want him to organize everything because there are too many books around. So you have to teach that organizational skill from childhood itself. Now, luxuries. I've seen some parents at the age of 10 years, they start giving PS4 because they can afford it. But let me tell you, parents, affordability is not what guides disciplining. You have to be very, very careful. Even if you can afford certain luxuries, please be careful whether your child or the teenager, whether he can handle it. A 10-year-old teenager's father gave him these video games and gave him a best mobile, that is Apple mobile. He gave the best of the smartphones. And what happened to that child? He went into internet addiction. Earlier father was very happy. My child is using the phone so nicely. My teen is playing on it. He has the best. So much of peer pressure for the father that my child has the best phone. It is because of father's peer pressure. And later they realized that it was a mistake. So please think before giving luxuries to your child or teenager. Setting limits of expectation. Nowadays, I'm seeing some of the fathers. They tell me even in my colleagues, when my colleague we had a webinar, and my colleague said, "No, my son is not giving me the laptop." He's how many years old? 7 years old. He has some classes and all, and he has taken over the father's laptop. That is not a great thing to be proud of. You have to set limits of expectations. You have to tell him that this is not yours. Laptop, papa's time on laptop, papa's work is more important. You will get the laptop, but for a limited time. Set the limits from there only. Otherwise, it will be difficult later. Consistency while disciplining is very important. For example, if a child makes a mistake, one time you punish him and another time you don't punish him, that is not consistency at all. And the teenager takes this feedback. It's okay. Sometimes I will get punishment. Sometimes I will not. So it's okay. Why to bother? He's not even sure whether he should do this thing or he should not do this thing. He's not knowing. He doesn't come to know whether what he did was correct or incorrect. This creates a lot of confusion. So this is not correct discipline. You have to be consistent. If you come late after 7 o'clock to the house, there will be some amount of disciplining. It should happen every time the child comes back home late. But of course, later I'll be talking about a little flexibility and a little empathetic rules. Okay? So this is very important. Consistency of regulations have to be set and obeyed by all. If a teenager is given strict instruction, all in the family, including the extended members, including the joint family, including parents, everybody should obey those rules. Consistency of punishment, as I've already talked, should be fixed. Consistency of behavior of parents. Sometimes, if mother is in a happy mood and a teenager has done something wrong, she doesn't say anything. That is not correct. Then, and next time, when suddenly mother's mood is bad and then that same mistake is repeated by the teenager, she really gives a bad, scolding. Now the teenager is confused. What happened? What did I do? Right? So you have to be very consistent. It does not depend on your mood. What is discipline is that discipline has to be dependent on the person's what he has done, deed. Consistency has to be same for all siblings. Like for example, if one sibling is very good in studies, the other sibling is not good in studies, mother is partial. Mother won't say anything if the boy, the good child comes back late because he is doing well in studies. But the other one who is not doing well in studies, she scolds him very badly if he comes late. That is not done. This is not acceptable to anybody. Please do not do this. Next, ignoring minor misbehaviors. This I have already, I told that time that I will be talking about it. So little bit of minor misbehaviors should be acceptable. You should have a little empathy for such kind of behaviors and you should accept it once in a while so that the child or the teen understands that yes, my parents are empathetic to me. They understand me and when they scold me, it is logical, right? So use the rule of silence is golden sometimes. Yes, indeed. If sometimes you don't accept that situation, what your teen has done, but you don't want to scold because you are empathetic, then remain silent. That is more effective than scolding at that time. Give them time to understand their mistake. They need to internalize their mistake. Very important. Give place for change. Suppose your teenager is doing something repeatedly. Think about it. Is it good for a change? Can we change to a better thing? Is it a better thing? Be a little flexible in those changes. Sometimes youngsters, they do teach you lessons. So take lessons sometimes. Positive remarks. That is the P of the discipline. That is very important. Now, here I want to clear one thing that positive remarks means remarks only. I want to say, please do not involve materialistic rewards here. Teens, they live for small, non materialistic rewards like shabash, well done, my child, very good, I am proud of you. These are the small phrases they look for. They are not looking for big prizes. They are not looking for toys. No. Make them used to there be, these non-materialistic rewards, right? Small words of appreciation is what is more important and much more effective than your toys and other things. Okay, appreciate the first attempt and make room for betterment. For example, if you want your child to learn something about a housework, like in corona times, all our children have also shared the housework, right? For example, one mother told me that I want to teach my child how to put clothes on the wire after from the washing machine. So the way to do it is just let him put the clothes, let him see you first once as a teacher. Let him see you how you do it. Second time, let him do it the way he wants to do it without nagging him, without telling him anything. And once he has done it, then you appreciate the attempt, even if you know it's a shabby work. Appreciate that yes, he made the attempt, and then you teach him what are the mistakes he did, little bit in a very loving manner. And next time, so this time you correct his mistakes. Next time, again he will make a few mistakes, but it is better than earlier. So appreciate that. Tell him, yes, it is better than earlier. So there will be a time when he will be like you. He will learn the work totally and properly. This is the way to teach them, with positive remarks, not with negativity. कि अभी तुमने काम सीख ली क्या धड़ाक. No, this is not the way to teach. Okay? Parents' encouragement, what it does is it releases dopamine, which is called the happiness hormone, the reward hormone, and it causes happiness in the child. And that is very important for that turmoil bound hormone system of a teen. So please use this hormone, encourage them, give small words of appreciation. They love it. Yeah. This also helps not only starting the disciplining but also in continuation. The maintenance of the disciplined behavior will be permanent. It will not be like this that today he will do it. If you slap him, if you punish him, if you talk harshly to him, he will better the work immediately. The work will become better, but it will be temporary. The next time he will do the same thing in a bad way. So if you want a continuation of proper behavior, please give positive remarks, small words of appreciation. Unconditional love. I have already told this is the golden rule of parenting. You have to be responding to the needs if you want to discipline them. You have to be establishing a closeness with them that they can communicate with you. You have to help them become independent while disciplining. Disciplining is not for you, disciplining is for their independence, for their freedom. Accept their individuality. As I said, accept some changes if they want to make some changes and if it is good while disciplining. Nurture their self esteem. Small words of reward. It really nurtures their self confidence, their self dignity. Let them have that self esteem that yes, they can do better and they are doing better each time. Accepting our own limitations. Yes, sometimes in digital world, parents need to tell the child or the teen that I am not able to understand this, I will study and get back to you. So accept it. Unlimited patience is one thing that I've seen not many parents have, but disciplining your teen needs unlimited patience. There is no way out of this. Involving entire family. So this is, as I have already told, that this is when discipline is to be done. It has to be same rules for all, same rule for parents, same rules for extended family, one meal together. That means involving the whole, what we did in the whole day. Meal together means when we sit together, we talk together, we talk about a meal, not only about the meal, but we also talk about what we did today. Everybody should talk about the day's things, day's experience. That is a good learning for each other. Also, it brings a lot of bonding for each of them. So the children, they start bonding there. They start telling their problems. They start telling their experiences, which is really required for parents to understand them. Then, consistent punishment for entire family. No lying to each other. First step in disciplining. Do not think that you can do whatever you want when you are out of the house and then lie to the teen that no, you don't take alcohol and all. They will know it. So please do not try to discipline while lying to the teenagers. There should be no labeling or nagging. Now, this is a very important thing. I have seen some of the parents, once the teenager has not achieved IIT, they have not passed IIT exam, or they have not passed 12th class exam in flying colors, they'll keep nagging for their whole life. Even though the student becomes a very good, he got a good job, he's doing well in life, he's achieving a good amount of money as well as happiness, still they will keep nagging. That is not at all called for. Please do not. So any mistake made once needs to be corrected and forgotten. Don't keep telling, see, तूने एक बारी ये किया था, you know, and then again bring it up. It really doesn't feel good. No sarcasm by the parents. That is very important. Otherwise, they will also be sarcastic to you later in life when you become old. No nagging about study methods. For example, I've seen some parents will tell the children that pata nahi, I don't know, he doesn't know how to study. He just keeps on reading and reading and he doesn't remember. He should talk aloud like how I used to do. But you see, the study methods for each individual are different. It is not essential that your children should study as per your guidelines. Let them be comfortable. So there should be no nagging that you study like this, not like this. It's not good. Let them study how they feel comfortable, in whatever time they feel comfortable. Then no nagging about negative things of a family member. Then even when some mistake gets repeated again, there is no need to remind. Now, for example, as I said, one mistake you don't do anything. Second mistake, you try to understand that child. If the same mistake has been made, why he is making such mistake? Is there something wrong that we are doing? Is it something wrong? Has some change to happen? Some change is required here, or do we need to deal with it in a different way? Please, you have to put your mind together and deal with it in a different way. Then there should be no labeling done. So, for example, some parents will say, my child though doesn't eat fruits, he doesn't like fruits at all. This is reinforcement. If you just give a general label fruits, maybe this child doesn't like grapes, but he likes apples. He likes watermelon. Maybe he doesn't like cherries as mother likes, but he likes other fruits. So don't label that all fruits he doesn't like. That will cause him actually not to like all fruits. He feels that mother is okay with it, so let it be. So don't label about such things. Then they will say, he keeps sleeping. He likes to watch TV a lot. He enjoys movies a lot. While on the other hand, you keep telling him, "Arey, study, study, study." And on the other hand, you are telling him, he enjoys. You are actually boasting to your friends. He knows each and every actor's name. He knows each and every movie. He knows the director of each and every movie. So on one hand, you are praising him for his movie watching. On the other hand, you want him to study during that time. Aren't you being controversial? You have to think before doing reinforcement of habits. That is very important. Last but not the least, as I said, while disciplining, you have to be empathetic, which means you have to listen more to your team. You have to lean towards them. You have to understand them. You have to know what they are feeling. You have to keep smiling. You have to be interested in their life, in their world. You have to maintain an eye contact. That is very important. Don't keep looking on your phone while talking to the team. No. You have to have eye contact so that they know that you are listening. Touch is a very important tool which helps the child or the team to talk. They connect. This is empathy. And then you have to educate the child for disciplining. That means now educating doesn't mean that you bring 10 neighbors. For example, I've seen some families, they say, they will call their friend and they will say, you just tell my child, no, there's some good thing about studies and all. He is not studying well and all that. Please you tell now, he's not listening to me. That is not good. You have to ensure confidentiality, then only your child will understand. Then he has more confidence in you. And you have to acknowledge his concerns. You have to acknowledge her, what she is feeling, what she or he wants to tell you or wants you to make you understand about discipline. Filter out important points. Identify the weakest and the strongest links of your child. and work on them. Discuss positive assets and resources. Set the goal together and rationally. It is not that you have to be very authoritarian always. You have to listen to them. You have to connect with them. And then you have to decide together what is good disciplining at this stage. That means with the teen and parents together, they have to do it. Identify obstacles and means to overcome, which I have told already that you have to understand. Chalk out the exact doable plan of action. Sometimes disciplining is not easy. Sometimes, for example, in today's corona time, internet is becoming a big problem. But it is a necessary evil also. So then, what is to be done? That is why you have to understand that we have to chalk out exact doable plan. Assign homework to everybody. Everybody has to get involved in this disciplining process. Praise the efforts and improved outcome. That is very important again. Now let me give you a small summary which you must remember. If you keep it on a small paper, print it and then keep it near you or inside your almirah, read it every day, you will understand. You have to love as well as connect. Only when you will love, then the teen will connect to you. Second, monitor and observe. So, see, every mother wants to know what the child is doing. That is very important. But there is a difference between monitoring and spying. So, monitoring is just having an overlook. You're not interfering in their life. Spying is when you start going behind them like a spy and you start, seeing what they're doing and then you talk about it and interfere in their life. That is not required. So just monitor and observe. Guide and limit. So you are a guide and you want to put limits. Again, this I have already talked that you have to guide and limit for the whole family. You have to model and then consult. So first you have to be that disciplined person yourself and then only the teen will consult you. First you have to provide and then advocate. So if you provide a good disciplined environment to a teen, then only then you can advocate them to follow that. That is, you are the ideal parent and then you will have an ideal child. Of course, I'm not saying perfect. Nobody is perfect. Even parents have some problems. So don't feel that you have to be perfect. But discipline wise, if you show some amount of discipline, then advocacy becomes easy for the teen. Thank you so much for having this patience to listen to me. And I would like to say that please subscribe and like this video and follow me for all the time, for all the parenting teens with love. Thanks a lot.